Hello and welcome back again to I Love It When with Mo. And in this video, I'm going to share a little bit about what I do in the retreat realm of my business. So if you head to iloveitwhen.org and look at Work with Mo and then hit retreats, you'll see an example of just one type of retreat, which I'm working on updating that on my website. So I was that person in every experience of a retreat that I had. Once I started working, I love it. I would just sit there and I'd be like, I can't believe we get to do this today. I get to know people on a deeper level. I get to experience something new with these folks. Somebody's coming in to present something to us. Like, I can't wait to learn about it. I was that person that was just like energized by the idea of a retreat. So that's like, I didn't really understand that was going to be a part of my life until it was like I couldn't stop myself anymore. I was working. If you've watched the first video that I posted on my YouTube channel, that's about how my company got started. You'll know that I was working for a real estate team called Pickett Street Properties. And I used to help organize and facilitate the retreats we had for our teams. And I realized that like one day I was like, I could just do this all day long, every day, and it would be so much fun. I freaking loved it. And that's when I knew I couldn't not do this. It had to be a part of my life. And so I created the Pacific Northwest Operations Retreat in 2017. And that is specifically a retreat for real estate admin in the real estate industry. And I did that because so oftentimes admin are just underserved in different industries across the board. They're not given the opportunity to have the same resources and access to professional and personal development as the CEOs and executives are. And I was determined to make that different, to change that. And so I started out with this three-day retreat where I bring in speakers, high-level speakers that cost good money, catering, and then I would pick a VRBO, a house in the Pacific Northwest where we would all like sleep in the same house, because that's something that I've realized that has to do with retreats that I'm very good at is I'm very good at creating an environment and a space that feels safe and also exciting and intimate and fosters a community where we are open and encouraged to be ourselves and to share and to really go deeper than those surface level conversations that we so often run into at conferences and classes. And so I started running these retreats and again realized how much I was in love with them. I would bring in speakers like Gary John Bishop, who wrote Unfuck Yourself. I bring in Mangels, who's a strategic intuitive advisor. I brought in Susan Scott, who wrote Fierce Conversations. I brought in Monique Helstrom, who used to work with Simon Sinek. I realized, again, something that I tell every attendee who comes to that retreat is, you are so much more powerful than you realize. And now I realized that I was saying that to myself as well. And I was proving to myself time and time again that I could reach out to high-level speakers, authors, and I could bring them into my world.
He said, freedom. I'm going to bastardize it, but this is what he fucking said. Freedom for a human being is the moment that they act in a way that's inconsistent with who they have become by default. And that's it. That's the only freedom you get. The only freedom you get is when you step into life in a way that conflicts with what you are automatically. And how do I do that? By recognizing what I've become automatically. And when I recognize that I've become this strong fucking woman, and I realize that doesn't work everywhere in my life. That might work here, and I can turn it on there like a faucet, and that's fine. But I need to intervene with it in other areas of my life.
My goal now with I Love It is to break out of just the real estate industry and start doing these retreats for people all over the place. I have a goal of doing one for women in business, just women in general. I would like to eventually do one for teens. I am also completely open and now talking to different companies about coming into just their company and doing a retreat for them. So when I'm talking about retreats, I want you to know that this can be, again, whatever you want it to look like. If you want it to just be me to come and facilitate and do activities and run the agenda, and that can be the retreat. I can also bring in speakers. It can be whatever you like it to be. But just know that with me in charge of it and running it and organizing it, facilitating it, taking the weight of it off of you as the CEO of your company, I know how many other things you have on your mind and you have to do. And sometimes these kind of professional and personal development activities get put to the side when they're really and truly some of the most important things you can do for your employees. So hire me to do it for you. And like I said, I love them so much that I will be the one to make sure that we have an environment that brings all of you together, and you will feel the ROI of that. You will understand and have the takeaways at the end of that. So again, it can be whatever you want it to be. Reach out to me. This is where we can get creative. This is where we can think outside the box. I love doing stuff like this. But that's a little bit about what it's like to hire me to do a retreat for you. I just, as an example, ran a retreat for a team down in Denver, Colorado this last year. And it was a day and a half long. So I flew down there, had the agenda, had of course run through the agenda and created it based on what the leaders wanted. We did activities. It was very engaging. It was definitely a time where they were able to slow down and stop what they do every day, all day long, and really be with each other and make progress on the things that they don't always get to talk about, which is so important. So that's a little bit about what I do in the realm of retreats. If you're curious at all, if you're thinking about doing something like this for your company, or you'd like to have, maybe you're an employee and you'd like your company to bring me in, please reach out. Like, anything is possible. So let's explore it together.